who have a job where the public is entrusted to you as whether you're a bus driver, a pilot, or whatever, should we drug test gun owners to make sure that they are,
Wait, Alan Colmes advocating for drug testing?
I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying I advocate it or not. I'm just questioning whether that would be a good idea. I don't generally advocate drug testing because I think it's an infringement on our civil liberties. But for those people who believe in drug testing, particularly conservatives who want to get employees drug tested or people in certain professions drug tested, why not apply that to gun owners? We are at 877-367-2526. Bev in Jackson, Michigan. Hello.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
How do you do?
Getting hold of you. I'm sorry I missed your guest tonight. Really interested.
Well, thank you.
I came from a multiple generational hunting family. When we grew up, we were taught early on, you don't touch mom and dad's guns. I have a farm now myself, and I'm inundated with raccoons killing my chickens, and I have to live trap them.
Right.
There is no predators. And to be honest, I finally gave up on the live trapping. I couldn't catch them well enough, and I'm not in the sticks here, so I'm not going to harm anybody. And so I decided to do a stakeout on my own vehicle aiming toward my porch. I live with myself, so I'm not going to shoot anybody. Anyway, I got to the point, I guess I'm such a lousy shot that having thrown the gun at them would have been a better thing than my actually shooting them. Now, I have had to put down animals. Getting back to that issue about why someone would do that, I think my feeling is that, number one, they're so distraught. You think of it, particularly the selfish person that not only takes out the wife with the kids, because it's sort of like, well, if I can't have them, she can't have them, nobody gets them. I think in those particular circumstances of mentally ill, they would use any weapon possible, whether it was bludgeoning them with a hammer, a rope, whatever. And I think in those particular people's hands, a gun is just a vehicle. If they didn't have a gun in their hand, they would have used something else probably. But
yeah.
I have tremendous respect of guns, and I think part of the problem is, remember, I had a family, a mom and a dad, they both hunted, and we were taught early on to respect guns. You have multiple children now growing up in cities. They don't have a support network. They don't have anybody to say, son, that is not a toy. And obviously they're not hunting raccoons or possums in the city. And so when those hands, it's really scary. Getting back to the amendment thing, though, I just thought about this. Remember the Green Mountain Boys in the Appalachian area during the Revolutionary War?
A little before my time, no.
Well, you know your history, though. Okay, so the thing is that at that time, the government was, the colonies of whatever it was not really supplying the munitions. The people themselves already owned the guns because they were living in they were living out of sticks, perhaps Indians, perhaps wild animals, perhaps this and that. I mean, those people already had their guns, so there was already private gun ownership even at that time. You think about out west, they were never supplied. The people had own guns at that time. So, I mean, I think in some way of saying, it's always going to be the militia, well, that's not true. In some ways, we've always had guns. I mean, there was guns on the ships coming across.
Yeah, true. The question is, what should be the proper laws now, and do we need to kind of rework the Second Amendment to give it more clarity? Rodney in Jacksonville, Florida. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm kind of, I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Disheartened about the whole thing about gun control, because the thing about the Kansas City player and all that. I mean, I once had a friend who was a professional sports player. He pitched in the College World Series, hurt his elbow, and his career was gone. And I roomed with him for about a year and a half. And the guy had never done a load of laundry, had never cooked for himself, had never written a check or put a stamp on anything.
Right.
And I just think that's the real issue here, is that how we educate our top athletes.
So you're talking about a problem specific to, let's say, athletes who never really lived in the real world, never learned basic skills.
Correct. I mean, I don't think this is a gun issue. I think it's an issue with how athletes deal with the real world when they're faced with it. And I honestly believe that, I mean, if you look at other athletes suicide, who have killed, who have used guns or whatever, it's all been related to them not being able to deal with real life issues.
Then how do you approach that, I wonder, in terms of gun legislation?